All four changed their clothes and donned the robes of forest dwellers. Then, Vessantara told Mari that from then on, they were hermits and no longer husband and wife. She was no longer allowed to come visit him inappropriately. Mari responded,
"Yes, my lord. Then let me be responsible for taking care of the children and for providing you with food. This way, you can fully dedicate yourself to mental cultivation."
And so, every day, Mari would go out and gather fruits and berries. Owing to the power of the Bodhisattva's compassion, all animals in the vicinity were peaceful and had compassion for one another. Mari would then bring the food back and offer it all to Vessantara. He would then consume enough to merely survive, and then give the rest back for Mari and the children to eat. Now at that time, in the kingdom of Kalinga, there lived a Brahmin named Jujaka. He was a beggar. After he accumulated 100 rupees, he went to a certain Brahmin family and deposited it with them. Jujaka then went out to make more money. Jujaka was gone for a long time, and when he came back, he asked for his money. However, the Brahmin family had spent all the money he had deposited with them. Jujaka was furious and demanded repayment. The couple had no choice but to give their young, beautiful daughter, Amitatapana, to Jujaka as his wife. As she was young and beautiful, Jujaka was delighted. Amitatapana tended to Jujaka as a good wife should. She washed his feet when he returned home. She massaged him and looked after his well-being. Villagers were curious. They wondered how Jujaka was able to find such a young, beautiful, and dutiful wife. Some young men spied on Jujaka and Amitatapana. They shared what they saw with their friends. All the husbands went home and complained that Amitatapana was taking such good care of her old husband, while their wives were not taking care of their young husbands. The wives were furious at Amitatapana and waited for her at the riverside. They mocked her and said, "Shame on your father and mother for allowing you to marry such an old and disgusting man. Your life is such a shame, and wasted on such a worthless old man. Your parents must hate you, or you must have done much evil karma." When Amitatapana tried to get away, they tripped her and hit her with their hands, feet, and baskets. Amitatapana ran home crying to Jujaka. She told him what the other women had done to her. She said,
"Please, my husband, do not make me go back there again. They bullied me. They harassed me. They hurt me. I cannot go back there again. Please do not make me."
She cried into his lap and said,
"You must find me a slave or a maid to do this work for me. If you do not, I will no longer live with you. I cannot face those women at the river."
Jujaka responded,
"How can I find a slave or a maid for you? We are poor and barely have enough to survive."
She then bowed at his feet and said,
"I've heard that King Vessantara now lives in the mountains somewhere, and he still has his 2 young children. Surely if you find him and ask him, he'll give them to you as our slaves. You must do this for me, or I will leave you."
Jujaka, madly in love with his beautiful young wife, said,
"I will do anything for you. I will leave at once.
So, early the next day, Jujaka left on his quest. Once Jujaka reached the correct mountain, he found a hunter named Chetaputta standing guard in the forest. This hunter knew where Vessantara was residing and protected the path from people seeking to take advantage of Vessantara by asking for his wife or children. He threatened Jujaka with death. However, with his slick tongue, Jujaka was able to convince the hunter that King Sanjaya sent him on a mission to invite Prince Vessantara back home, as the people had forgiven him. Chetaputta believed him and instructed him to go find Achata the ascetic. Once Jujaka found Achata the ascetic, they exchanged greetings. Jujaka inquired as to the whereabouts of Vessantara. Achata immediately accused Jujaka of having ill intentions and only coming to ask for Vessantara's wife and children. However, once again, Jujaka, with his slick tongue, convinced Achata that he only wished to visit, not to ask for anything. Achata believed him and pointed him towards the road that led to Vessantara. That night, Mari had a nightmare. She dreamed that a dark man came and entered the hut of leaves, clutched her by the hair, dragged her out, threw her down on the ground, tore out her 2 eyes, cut off her 2 arms, cut open her breast, tore out her heart, and carried it away. Mari quickly ran to Vessantara and knocked on his door. Vessantara rebuked her and said, "Your actions are inappropriate for one who has left the worldly life. You have broken our agreement."
My lord, I've not come for the sake of desire. I've come because I've had an evil dream.
In that case, tell me your dream, Mari. After he heard the dream's contents, he knew immediately that someone was coming to ask for his 2 children. He understood that his quest to perfect his virtue of giving at the highest level would be tested today. Vessantara decided to console her. He was afraid that if Mari knew the truth, she might prevent him from giving away the children. "Mari, fear not. Your mind was probably disturbed by indigestion. There is nothing for you to fear." After receiving his reassurance, she was consoled. She thanked him for his kindness and left. The next morning, before leaving to gather food, she took a long look at her children. She told them,
Last night I had a bad dream. You 2 be careful. Do not play far from your father, and listen to what he tells you to do. Do not get into trouble.
Even though she trusted Vessantara's words, she could not help feeling scared for her children and gave them a motherly hug. Jujaka, arriving at that moment, knew that asking for the children in front of Mari would be like trying to take lion cubs from a lioness. He hid behind a rock and waited for her to walk out of sight. Then he approached Vessantara. Vessantara knew that this would be the moment he would be tested. He said to Jujaka, "Tell me, Brahmin, why have you traveled far to come to see me? Speak plainly and without guile. Tell me what you want." Jujaka responded,
"My lord, I have a great need and have traveled far to ask you for your children. Please have mercy and grant me this wish."
Vessantara was delighted that his time to complete his perfection of dana, or giving, had come. He said, "Brahmin, I give you my children freely. You may consider them yours and no longer mine.
You may do with them as you wish. They are well-behaved, smart, and kind children. They will bring you much joy."
Jujaka, hearing these words, was delighted. He said,
"I am happy that you have given me your children. I will use them as slaves to tend to my wife and me, so that we will not have to do any more work."
At this, Vessantara felt his heart tighten, but did not take back his gift. The children happened to be hiding nearby, hoping to overhear what the adults were discussing. However, when they heard Jujaka planned to use them as slaves, they were scared and began to tremble.
What did you learn from this story? We hope you enjoyed the video. Click like if you did, and click subscribe if you want to see our uploads.